Hey guys, this is Mr. Oxy coming at you from Palm Beach in Florida. It is a beautiful day outside. It is Monday. It is May the 18th. And, there's not a lot of stuff going on. I mean, the market has been going down, 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 and then suddenly it spiked up again. And today it's kind of like, who knows what's going on. I see some of you have sort of tagged onto some of the comments that I make about one Maserati, two Maserati. So today was kind of like more like a nothing day. And one of the reasons why it was mostly for me a nothing day is because even though I have quite a few red ones, I also have quite a few green ones. And my uranium stocks have actually been going up quite nicely, especially one of them called Paladin. But what I want to do today is just take a few minutes here and talk a little bit about Occidental. And this is sort of more from a, let's say, a more lighthearted point of view. In other words, I'm not going to go down into serious stuff like I did last time when I was talking about the SEC filings and things like that, which must have been super boring for most of you. So what I thought today is I'll pose the challenge and say, what's next for Occidental? Are we going to 25? Which is where we are, 35 or 45. So you can notice there's a little bit of optimism in my question to begin with, because I'm not saying, as I did once before or a couple of times before, we're at 25. Are we going to 15 or 35? No, no, no. This time I'm saying we're at 25. What's next? 25, are we going to sit here for a while, or are we going to 35 or 45? It'll be interesting. So let's see what the underlying thesis is and see what's going on with Occidental Petroleum. And then we can decide sort of where we think it's going to go next. So today we closed at almost $26. We were down 50 cents. Otherwise, we would have traded above $26 for the day, which is arguably kind of okay, except for the fact that within the last 52 weeks, we obviously hit a high of $32.52. This seems like a lifetime ago, but it was actually only sort of towards the end of March. Specifically, what I want to look at today, included in this presentation, is that some of these institutional investors, and you can see that Oxy is almost 64% held by institutional investors. So everybody knows about Carl Icahn, and some of you recently followed the news about David Tepper's Appaloosa Management, who initiated a new position in Occidental. So most people are kind of familiar with that and kind of up to date, I guess. But let's see sort of if we go into the weeds a little, who these people are and what they actually think and what they are saying. So the first thing I wanted to share are the super smart people, the analysts, because from before, if you've been watching my videos, analyst, you know that these guys are super smart and they always get it right. So let's start off with the analysts and say, what are their price targets over the next 12 months? So on the high side, it's $42, and on the low side, it's $20. But to be fair, there are only really two guys. So down here, underneath this little pie chart, you can see that 6 people say buy, 9 of them say hold, and 2 of them say sell. So there's only 2 guys sort of talking it down. Most of them are kind of in that hold scenario, and a couple of people are very bullish and say buy Occidental. We're going to look at some of these in just a second. Based on the 17 sell-side analysts who offered a 12-month price target in the last 3 months, the analysts predict almost 20% increase from today. Well, that'd be nice, because that would be sort of around, $30-ish or thereabouts if we average or take a median of their predictions. I'm not sure if they're going to be right or wrong, but let's take a deeper dive. So on the one side of the coin where they say buy, we see a few people, and some of these names might be familiar with you if you listen to the earnings call. Daniel Boyd from Mizuho Securities, Raphael Dubois from Société Générale. The outliers here, Doug Legat from Merrill Lynch and John Freeman from Raymond James, are in the 40s already in terms of their price target. But anyway, a median here on the buy side would probably be sort of in the, let's say, mid 30s or so. How about on the sort of more hold side? So even the people who say hold, so a few of these analysts were on the earnings call as well, like Janine and Neil and Devin, Paul Chang, etc. even their price targets are sort of 10, 15, 20% above where Occidental is trading right now. So they're saying hold, but still agree that there's a bit of upside here. And we got two guys down here, which I put at the bottom, not because I'm trying to undermine their comments, but just because there are only two of them who are sort of on the sell side of the equation. William from Credit Suisse with a price target of $22, and Josh, we know, of course, Josh Silverstein from Wolf had downgraded Oxy just, I think it was about a month ago, and his price target is $20. Let's see how wrong Josh and William or Bill are going to be on this call. So if we look at the sort of typical subscribers on tip ranks who are actually holding Oxy, and we look at the activity there, we can see that the young ones are buying, because the percentage of tip rank subscribers, which is thousands of people who hold Oxy, is almost 28%, and it's been up 25% over the last 30 days. What about the guys who are a little bit more senior, 35 to 55-year age group? Almost half of them have Occidental in their portfolios, and that's up about 8%. But the old guys, percentage hold Occidental, almost 27%, but it's down a little over the last 30 days. So interesting changes there. One of the reasons why the sort of older segment might have taken a bit of a dip is because of your favorite uncle and mine, Carl Icahn, who obviously reduced his stake. And that had an enormous impact on Occidental. So in fact, when I look for triggers in the market in terms of why there has been downward pressure on Occidental over the last, let's say, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks or so, so certainly 2 months of the last quarter, the primary reasons might have been because Carl Icahn reduced his position by about 2.3 billion. But did you know that John Gunn of Dodge & Cox had also reduced his position by about 3.1 billion? So Carl Icahn gets all the news, but Dodge & Cox actually trimmed a little, by the way. It's not a lot for them, but they trimmed a little of their position in the last quarter. And as per their 13F filing, they trimmed $3.1 billion from their Occidental position. What about the latest institutional activity? And this is always interesting, whether you think you can follow the smart money, or whether you believe this is the smart money or not, are of course debatable points. The fact is, Dimensional Fund Advisors, BlackRock, and Mellon Investments all bought a few million shares of Occidental each in the previous quarter, and this is as per their filings of March 31. So they've all added to their positions. I don't personally have millions of shares of Occidental, but I have thousands, and it's always nice for me to see when institutional money drop a few $100 million on one of my long holdings. I think by now, most of you would have seen the news about Scion in asset management. Of course, Scion Asset Management is the very famous Dr. Burry, Michael Burry, who predicted the housing market crunch of 2008 to 2010 and shorted the asset-backed commercial paper and made himself a few $100 million, if not a few $1 billion in terms of that particular short. In fact, that was the title of the movie, The Big Short. Well, Dr. Michael Burry has been buying Occidental Petroleum, and this is a new holding for him. So he initiated holdings in Oxy, and he purchased 225,000 shares. And the average price would be tough to estimate. The average price during the quarter was $25. He might have purchased the stock at below 20, and being as smart as he is, I'm sure he probably didn't buy it at $31. But anyway, Michael Burry is an incredibly smart gentleman. He currently has a large short position on Tesla, which is new, and he has gone long on Oxy. That gives us a sense of confidence too. But let's look quickly at the top 10 owners of Occidental Petroleum. So when you look at the institutional owners, this is a little bit deceptive, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. This is the first slide of 2 of the institutional investors, and we see Dodge & Cox, despite the fact that they trimmed a little, are still the largest institutional stakeholder by far, with almost 12.5% of Oxy in terms of where they are right now. And there you can see the change, which is 3.5% a reduction of their position, probably trimming a little bit to rebalance. Vanguard increased their position just a little. We all know about Icahn and He sold off close to 30% of his position. SSGA sold just a little, probably trimming to rebalance, and then we see BlackRock added about 6%. There are smaller investors, but they're not significantly smaller because look at the quantity. Dimensional fund advisors up almost 40%. Right at the bottom, Invesco increased their position by 464%, which of course is relatively easy to do if you have a relatively small position. Remember some of these names like Dodge and Cox and Vanguard and so on, because the very next slide shows you the top 10 mutual funds holding Occidental Petroleum. So these are the same people, but not, because Dodge and Cox own Oxy directly, but Dodge and Cox also manage a variety of different mutual funds. And you can see their stock fund and their balance fund and their global stock fund all have positions, and some of them are quite large. 7.5%, that's just 1% and another 1%. So there's almost 10% in the mutual fund holdings held by Dodge and Cox. What about Vanguard? There's 2.8, so it's almost 3. There's another 2 and a bit, and there's another 2%. So you can see that these institutional investors do not only hold Oxy stock directly, but they also have a variety of funds that invest in Occidental as well. And there's the same Invesco I mentioned just a minute ago, who also increased their position in the mutual funds by 40%. That is a big chunk of money. And these collectively, and this is just a snapshot of the top 10, make up that almost 64% of institutional investment in Occidental Petroleum. So if nothing else, the fact that the smart money own almost 60% plus of Oxy should give you at least somewhat of a sense of comfort in terms of your own position, whatever that may be. And of course, all of it is relevant in terms of your own holdings, your earnings expectations, your investment thesis, your time horizon, etc., which is all very unique to you. So let's take a quick look, and I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. Gotham Asset is Greenblatt, Joel Greenblatt. He added to his holdings. He has 429,000 shares. Paulson, that's a familiar name as well, and company, added to his position. He's now holding 3 million shares, and a new position was initiated by DSAM Partners, and they have 776,000 shares as of the filings that the people filed with the SEC as of March 31st, 2021. So guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to pose the challenge back at you, right? What are your thoughts? Is Oxy going to go to $25 per share, $35 per share, $45 per share? You guys know how this works now. You tell me in the comments. You guys are the smart people, not the analysts. And the institutional money, you know what? They have deep, deep pockets. Whereas for people like us, whatever position you hold in a stock like Occidental is material and meaningful. And obviously, we want to make sure that we generate a good return. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments, and let's get the conversation going. On that happy note, this is Mr. Oxy saying goodbye for now. I'll talk to you soon, and I look forward to your comments. Bye-bye.